What I wanted to show with the documentary that I thought wasn't being accomplished in the news in general is the humanity of it, like the real people, because the people who are being impacted by this, they're just like you or me if we were in such an extraordinary situation. I also wanted people to know about the crisis on a larger scale. It's something that's widely reported, but so many people have come to me and said, I had no idea this was happening. Even somebody who follows Ethiopia closely, who's spent time there, finds Ethiopian politics and conflict very confusing and hard to understand. So I was hoping to not explain everything, but at least present the basics, that it's not impossible to care about it, even if it's difficult to understand it all. When I got to Tigray, it was a time about 10 days before the Tigrayan forces took over the Mekelle, or the capital city of the region. So one thing we could sense immediately was the tension between the government forces and the population. And the other thing that I noticed right away from the first day of interviews is that people in Tigray speak kind of with one voice. Like, they have opinions about who should be in charge, and they're not shy to say so, what they think, even though it is opposing, or was at the time opposing, the forces that were controlling their region. And then the third thing that surprised me was how in the center of this huge crisis, that everywhere we looked, there were people just trying to live normally and almost trying to pretend that nothing was happening. So people would be going about their normal lives, and then you'd go to the hospital and you'd see like the level of destruction that was happening in the region. But people still have to survive and go about their day and try to get on with it. As a journalist, I was completely surprised almost by everything in Ethiopia. The government of the past, I was there in 2010 with Meles Zenawi leading the country. That government was well known for being very hard on journalists, and many people would get detained and deported, including myself. And when we got to Ethiopia, I knew there was a different government, but I also knew that we would be reporting stories that particular government has in the past not liked. We just decided that we didn't have any option, that we would have to just go in, report the stories as we see them, and not hold them till we leave the country. I expected to be not harmed or even put in jail, but I expected to be asked to leave the country shortly after I got there. But not only did I stay the entire time we planned, we were granted another press card to cover the election afterwards. But this one was unique from a journalist perspective in that we couldn't plan for anything. There was no way to do security analysis to know where to go and if a place would be reasonably safe or completely dangerous. I mean, at some points, we were at a checkpoint and the soldiers stopped us and they asked us to stay out of the car, and we waited for a while, and they told us later the reason why we were being stopped both in and out of that area was because they never saw foreigner journalists coming this way. They didn't know what the rule was, whether they were supposed to let us pass or not. There was at some point we were in the middle of nowhere and somebody said there's a sniper on the mountain pointed at you. And so we left quickly. But honestly, I have no idea if there was a sniper on the mountain. I didn't see it, and I'm not sure that person was telling the truth. So yeah, there was a lot of not knowing what's happening, what's going on, and what could happen at any moment. There was a 16-year-old girl that we met in the hospital who had been shot in the face, and she had been playing in the yard with her friends when her area was attacked. I don't think she was targeted, or at least she didn't think so. But she was old enough to grasp what this was going to mean for the rest of her life, as well as young enough to be traumatized and terrified by being attacked in a war that she has no part in making, or not even much understanding of what it's about. I didn't realize that this conflict is not a new conflict. It is an extension of a conflict that has been going on for so many years. The longer it goes on, the worse it's going to get. I'm not sure what the solution is, but continuing the fighting is I mean, it's growing exponentially at the moment, as far as I can tell. So I think that was the thing that I didn't know and that worries me the most, because from being there, from writing about it, from talking to people, and from making this documentary and all the news stories we did, it feels just overwhelmingly sad and utterly hopeless, and I'm not sure what should be done or what can be done, but something has to be done.